time since 2014, voters in every part of Montana will decide whether they want to make changes to the structure of their local government. MTN senior political reporter Jonathan Ambarian has a closer look at what these local government reviews could mean for cities and counties.
Since the 70s, Montana has had a process in place that gives voters a chance every 10 years to review their local governments and decide if they're satisfied with them or if they want to consider a different structure. That 10-year cycle is coming around again in 2024.
I think it's good for us to have this opportunity to pause and evaluate.
Dan Clark is director of the Local Government Center at Montana State University. They're working with counties and municipalities to get them ready to go through this process.
And at the same time, trying to educate the public as to what does this mean? And if I were to vote yes or vote no, what is it I'm voting for?
Montana has 56 counties and 127 cities and towns, and every one of them will put a possible review on their ballot. In June, residents in each jurisdiction will vote on whether to start a review. In places that vote yes, they'll come back in November and select members of a study commission. Over the next year, that commission will talk about their government's powers, form, and structure. If they recommend any changes, voters will have a final say by the end of 2026 on whether to approve the changes or keep the existing system. Clark says the questions a study commission looks at aren't about specific policies. They're issues like, should a local government seek more self-governing powers from the state? How should commissioners be elected? And should a city have an executive mayor or a city manager?
It's not a time to look at tax policy, say, or it's not an HR review of the elected officials. It has nothing to do with people. It has everything to do with process.
Groups like the League of Women Voters are also stepping in, trying to educate voters about the process. The Helena Area League has held informational sessions with Clark and with local elected officials.
With all this discussion of how government affects our lives locally, nationally, and state, here's a perfect opportunity for people to get involved in this process locally, because local government is where they say the rubber meets the road.
In the last round of reviews, starting in 2014, only 11 counties and 39 municipalities voted to hold reviews. Of those, only 16 put proposed changes on the ballot, and voters only approved changes in 5. Clark says he expects those numbers to grow this time around.
Already I can feel around the state, there's a lot of conversation going on around the state about this next voter review process. So we're expecting it to be higher than it was the last 10-year cycle.
Again, the question on your ballot this June only starts the process. Voters will have another chance to say yes or no before any actual changes take place. In Helena, Jonathan Ambarian, MTN News.